Hi, this is Jim Zafarana. I'm very proud to serve on the board of directors of the Family Housing Network of Fort Collins. And I'm speaking to you today. I've had a request to just spend a few moments and clarify what we're doing with our capital campaign and why, and how that will benefit the Family Housing Network's mission of empowering families to overcome homelessness. So let me go ahead and start. I'm just going to cover three quick things. Number one is, why are we purchasing the Myrtle property, a picture of which you can see here? How will that impact our cost and efficiencies? And how will this new property enable us to benefit not only the families we serve, but the faith communities and volunteers that have been so impactful over the years? So let me start with why we set out to purchase a new centralized location here in Fort Collins. We set out as a board and with the staff, and we clarified our three strategic reasons why we felt we need to invest in a new centralized location that will essentially allow us to host our emergency overnight program and our day center operations, as well as our case manager staff. So there's three things we were trying to accomplish. Number one is to improve our cost and efficiencies of running our operation. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes. Secondly, and maybe most importantly, is to better optimize the family guest experience with Family Housing Network, our volunteers, and our faith communities. And then third, to make this devotion of serving homeless families by our volunteers and faith communities less of a burden. So I'll talk through each of those here in a minute. First of all, our cost savings. Now, this is a big deal for us. We will save about 40% or $29,000 per year in our operational cost to just be open relative to our current operations. Now, how is that possible? Well, number one is we will eliminate the rent that we're paying today by purchasing and owning a building outright. We will get out from under being located in a commercial homeowners association property, which is very expensive for a nonprofit. And then thirdly, assuming we have a successful capital campaign, our objective is to have no mortgage, so no mortgage payments. So again, this is a big deal. We will definitely improve our efficiencies as a nonprofit with this move to a centralized location. Now, secondly, and these are in no order, I think they're all kind of equally important, we will optimize the guest experience for the families that we serve. We will have a safer, a less disruptive, and a more efficient experience for our families. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the building that we're buying on Myrtle is fully ADA and fire code compliant. Families will no longer have to rotate week to week across different faith communities. They won't have to wake up at 7 a.m. and leave the property. So this will be much less disruptive. In addition, because the day center will be co-located where the families are having emergency overnight experience, that's less disruptive. The family won't have to drive to the day center from the faith community. And then lastly, and this is really exciting, we will have about 8 suites in this new property, each with a private half bathroom, access to laundry, commercial kitchen, a bathtub for the youngest ones. And again, these suites for each family are really different than you all know about when families have been given the opportunity to have overnight shelter at the faith communities and classrooms. Okay, and then, for our volunteers and faith communities, it's all about the families, less about the logistics. And what do I mean by that? Well, you will not have to, as a faith community, manage the conflict of the request for hosting overnight at your property versus all the other things you're doing as a faith community. Our volunteers today have to set up and tear down from our trailer to open up and close down after the week your property. That will no longer be the case All of our suites and bedrooms in the new property will be furnished and ready to go. Today, if you're a faith community that does not happen to have the requisite uh, fire compliance with the city's codes, you have to have somebody walk the floor every half hour during the night. That will no longer be the case. The new property is fully fire suppressed. And then this is a convenience thing for our volunteer overnight hosts, but we will have a dedicated private overnight host suite with a real bed and a private bathroom. So that's the summary. Together you are instrumental in helping us empower families to overcome homelessness. We will empower more families more efficiently with even more compassion. We'll improve our cost and efficiencies. We'll optimize the experience for our families, and we'll reduce the burden on our volunteers and faith communities. Thank you so much for your support. We feel the momentum, and this is an exciting moment in time for all of us.